Hi, everybody. My name is Adam Theisen. I'm here to introduce myself to my classmates and to the faculty of Full Sail University, where I've decided to undertake the journey to achieve my Master's of Science in Business Intelligence and to tell you a little about myself. I live in Wisconsin, the land of cheese and cold weather. I live in a city called Kenosha. It is located right between Milwaukee and Chicago on the banks of Lake Michigan. And this is my wife, Annie. We've been married for 15 years. Oh, isn't that nice? And together we own the Kenosha Academy of Dance, Music, and Drama. It's a performing arts school with about 600 students that we've had since we opened it 11 years ago. In addition to the studio, I have a diverse and a very well-rounded professional background. I'm a nationally certified paramedic. I've worked as an executive recruiter for the healthcare industry, and my current employer, Amazon, I am an environmental health and safety specialist. So the question is, how do all these things fit together to wanting to pursue a master's degree in business intelligence from Full Sail University? I'll refer to our first assignment. Robert Greene has identified that if you can discover what your life task is in his book entitled Mastery, you will be well on the path to success. And he has 5 strategies to do so. The first strategy is return to your origins, the primal inclination strategy. Greene states, sometimes it's not an object or activity, but rather something in culture that sparks a deep connection. When I was working in theater, I did have the opportunity to explore that cultural relevance factor that Greene discusses, including directing this play here. It was a premiere written by a good friend of mine, G. Riley Mills, and the protagonists were Confederate soldiers. It had a lot of cultural impact, but over the years, I realized it wasn't enough for me. So we're going to move on to the next strategy. Strategy 2, occupy the perfect niche, the Darwinian strategy. So this strategy is about survival of the fittest, where your intellectual potential can help you build a career path that maybe doesn't even exist yet. He talks about revolutionary neurobiologist V.S. Ramachandran, who discovered new levels of understanding human consciousness and brain function, things he's been fascinated with since he was a kid. Okay, I got to jump in here for a second. When Dr. Ramachandran was a kid, he was doing psych experiments at his neighbors. When I was a kid, I was playing with my Star Wars action figures and wanting to play kickball. We're going to go to the next strategy. Strategy 3, avoid the false path, the rebellion strategy. Now that's more like it, the rebellion strategy. Now that sounds good. That sounds not so good. We all know that rebelling against who you are and what you think you should be doing isn't a good plan because you'll end up fitting where you don't. So number 3, kind of pointing out the obvious, let's move on to something else. Strategy 4, let go of the past, the adaptation strategy. Greene goes deep here. Remember, your life's task is a living, breathing organism. The moment you rigidly follow a plan set in your youth, you lock yourself into a position and the times will ruthlessly pass you by. Take a look at this painting by Nikolai Bordakin of Poor King Sisyphus. Hey, I was this guy. I would push that boulder up the mountain and even get it to the top. And then I'd stand by and watch it roll all the way back down. I did it for a few years, and my heart was not in my work, and I wasn't particularly fulfilled. Which brings us to number 5. Find your way back, the life or death strategy. Greene describes it like this. Sooner or later, something seems to call us onto a particular path, a signal, an urge out of nowhere, a fascination, a peculiar turn of events struck like an annunciation that this is what I must do. So that is the strategy for me, and my life task is to just help people. It's in my blood. It's the reason I became a paramedic. For me, getting a degree in business analytics is not about getting a cushy corner office. It's about being front and center to help as many people as I can. My dream job is to work for FEMA or for Homeland Security. And I'd like to use big data and what big data analytics can tell us specifically about a demographic in a given time in a given area. If we know at a concert that is largely attended by 14 to 17-year-olds, and we know that in that area in the last 6 months, 37% have purchased a smartwatch, we now know how to communicate in real time and give the best plans we can to protect people. What a great opportunity to use the education I'm seeking. Over the next 2 weeks, I plan to be successful by number 1, showing up and not missing a deadline. And number 2, I'm going to read your blogs. I want to know you. I want to have some good discussions because in a year we're going to be colleagues. So hi, everybody, and I'll see you around.